Sorry about that, everyone. My mic and everything was not set up properly, and I realized the last second. So, hey everyone. Yes, I know the screen was black. That was me just getting prepared. Sorry about that. There is audio now. How is everyone doing? Hi, Simi Charmed. Hi, Stevie Arrow. Hi, Story. Hi, Riaru. Hi, Hi, Arvin. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Girl Who Loves Fantasy. Hi, Dazzling Action. Hi, everyone who's here. Sorry about that with everything that's going on. Uh, my opening, that was not how I intended. But anyway, we're back. We're all good. We have a really good stream today because we have amazing news. The strikes might be over soon, and it's looking like they definitely are, especially the writers' strikes. So we're gonna get into that. We're also gonna talk about Martin Scorsese. He recently did an interview, and of course, he had a lot to talk about with Marvel. Well, he didn't. I don't think he didn't name drop Marvel, but I think he was definitely talking about it still. So we're gonna talk about that. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about today, so I'm looking forward to it. All right. Oh, Alexander, it's been a while since you've been on a live. Well, welcome, welcome. All right. Anyway, moving on to the first topic. We're gonna start with strikes, actually, because with strikes, everything else that we talk about with entertainment news will make more sense. So let's start with strike news. Now, as I just said, remember as I was talking about last week how the writers and the the writers and the AMPTP were planning to meet, and they did have several meetings trying to negotiate a new deal, and how all of the CEOs of all the major studios were all there trying to get this deal made. Well, over the weekend, they actually were able to come to a deal. Well, a tentative deal. They still have to vote on it later, but it's looking very much likely that this deal is legit and it might be a good one because according to WGA leadership, we can say with great pride that this deal is exceptional with meaningful gains and protections for writers in every sector of the membership. So, I mean, we don't know yet, what the inner workings of this deal is, what exactly the writers got, where the compromises are, but it's looking really good. It's looking like not only is this writer's strike going to end soon, and I did say once the writer's strike ended, the SAG strike would not be far behind. So, it's looking like we're going to get both strikes ending just within the next couple of weeks. I very much believe it. So I'm very happy about this. We already are getting a whole bunch more entertainment news just off of the news of this. So as someone who talks about entertainment news, this is helpful for me. How are you guys feeling about this? I know I kept saying I thought this strike wasn't going to be over until January, but it's somehow, some way, the strikes ended sooner. I think again, if somehow they didn't get to a deal today, these strikes would be over later, probably January. But I mean, I'm happy to be wrong about this. Not gonna lie, it is exciting. Blue Gecko nerd. Yes, praise the Lord. The CoverGirl Spider-Verse is not going to release next year. That was always going to get delayed regardless of the strike. They need more time to finish the animation on that one. This is fantastic news. Now, well, everyone can't get to work right away. Um, Now, just to clarify, this deal is not done yet. It's a tentative deal, which means they still have to vote on it soon, which they will do within the couple coming days. So, thankfully, the WGA has already told everyone who is outside the studios picketing that they don't have to picket anymore. So that's another positive sign. And they can't go back to their jobs yet because the deal isn't done or hasn't been officially finalized. But they can stop picketing, which, I mean, as I said, is a really good sign. I think once we find out what the writers got, we'll probably have a good idea about what the actors will get, because it would be unfair, and the actors have a lot of leverage now because they can be like, well, you gave the writers this, this, and this. Why can't you give us, the actors, the same thing? So I expect the actors, if this deal is good for the writers, expect the actors to also get a good deal too. Aaron Lopez says, I'm optimistic for the writers and labor overall in general. It seems we are going through a strike renaissance. I know, it's not just the entertainment industry that went through this strike. It's so many industries going through a strike right now. Hybrid Venom says there better not be another strike in the future. Well, there actually potentially could be. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen next year when IATSE can renegotiate. Hopefully that doesn't come to a strike. Again, they do have a bit of leverage now, knowing that the writers and actors have already negotiated for a fair deal, so maybe that will help things. I hope that we don't get another strike next year, but we'll see what IATSE does. Simi Charm says, I'm so happy the November release of Doctor Who wasn't affected by the America strikes. Yeah, none of the British productions have been affected because they're all with different unions. That's why we're still getting House of the Dragon on time, which apparently is about to finish filming or just wrap filming, one of those. Gamer97 says, if the writer's strike is over, when do you think the actor strike will end? Just a few weeks afterwards. Literally maybe 2 or 3 weeks later. I think it's going to be all pretty much at the same time. In fact, I saw a lot of people talking about the fact that they moved Dune from its November release date to early next year. Now, it looks like these strikes might actually be over in time for Dune's original release date, so they could have kept it where it was. Maybe they'll put Dune back where it was. I don't think they will. But I kind of wish they did, because I think Dune should come out this year, not next year. It just feels like a fall, winter movie. It is not a spring film. Little Joe's Animation says, we still have to wait so long before shows and movies come out. Yeah, that's true. There's still going to be a very long gap in production, especially a gap in content coming out next year because these strikes have already gone on for so long. So still expect sometime next year there's going to be a lull period where there's not a lot coming out, but that lull period is a lot shorter than what I thought it was going to be originally. Hi, Laura. Dennis says, unless the deal is really good, I wonder if another strike will happen within the 2020s. Honestly, regarding AI, I feel like there's a very real possibility. Because, and we'll find out the details of this new deal soon enough, but I'm wondering when they plan to meet again to renegotiate, because if it's in another 3 years, I think in 3 years where the state of artificial intelligence is at and what it can do with making movies and shows and that sort of thing, I think it will have progressed a lot further by then, and I think people are probably gonna want to renegotiate because I think the industry, it's going to be very clear the industry is going to be very different after that. So we'll see, but that's going to be a few years away from now, not right now. YouTube strike win. Oh man, wouldn't it be nice if all the content creators should just go on strike and demand more ad pay? Wouldn't that be great? Lawrence Anderson says, maybe Kung Fu Panda 4 won't get delayed after all. I know, it's looking like a lot of movies I thought were definitely going to get delayed might not. I mean, we still probably will get Deadpool 3 next year. Now, I think Deadpool 3 currently is slated to be released earlier next year, but because these strikes happen, I think they'll probably still delay Deadpool 3. I think they'll probably still have to shuffle the whole Marvel slate. But I still think we'll get Deadpool 3 next year. For a minute there, I thought we weren't going to get Deadpool 3 until like 2025, but I think we'll still get it before then. John Burns, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Hey, the strike is over, meaning LN talk shows. Oh man, all that drama with Drew Barrymore and all those talk shows coming back on the air only for like a week later, this stuff to be ending. I almost wonder if the severe backlash to Drew Barrymore bringing her show back is what lit a fire under the studio exec's butt to get something done? Or was it just horrible timing on Drew Barrymore's part and she should have just waited like one more week and none of this would have happened to her? I'm really curious as to which one it is. JK A Loco says, I'm shocked that the writers were able to negotiate with Bob Iger, who was the villain of all of this. I'm very, very curious to see what, like, specifically they got. Specifically with streaming residuals. Like, one of the main things that both the writers and the actors are fighting for in this strike is over getting paid for success-based streaming residuals. Like, for example, Aaron Paul, who is an actor from the hit show Breaking Bad, he said that his streaming residuals from Netflix are like basically nothing, even though Breaking Bad historically is a very, very popular show on Netflix. So, one of the main things that all the creatives are asking for is that, hey, if your show is getting a certain number of views and it's doing really well for your service, I should get paid for that. I should get residuals for that, just like I would have gotten paid for it if this show or movie had aired on traditional television. So that's what people are fighting for. I'm very curious to see if they actually were able to get that done. Is that part of this deal? Were they able to get success-based residuals? I don't know. If they did get that, that would be the deal of the century in my mind. It would be a huge, huge deal. But when we get the details, I'll go over it. Tracer says, "Oh, pushing 30 isn't old." What are you talking about? Tracer, what are you talking about? Tracer, what in the world? Are you guys arguing over something? Now I'm like getting a little bit. Oh, Melanie Martinez. Okay, I was like, who in the world are you talking about? Okay, you guys having your own little side conversations. That's fine, but it was getting a little heated. Ryan Lynn says, I still don't think Drew. Oh no, it just skipped. Okay, I still don't think Drew should have gotten that much heat still. I agree. As I've told you, I thought she seemed like she was actually going to abide by the rules, but if this is what lit the catalyst for this whole deal getting done, then maybe it was worth it. I don't know. We have who gifted a membership? The Light. Oh my god, sorry, it won't give me the full name. It starts with Light. I'm sorry, I wish I could say your whole name, but it won't tell me. But we just got a new member. Who's a member now? Oh, by Lightthorn. Thank you, Lightthorn, for gifting a membership. You were so kind. Very kind of you. And Arvin is now a member because of it, so congratulations, Arvin. We are going to get to the member section later, in the entertainment section, so look out for that. Little Joe's Animation says, I never understood the point of actor residuals. They get paid more than the rest of the crew, and they get initial fat paychecks for being in movies, don't they? Well, the thing is, actors have always relied on residuals since they made the deal long ago, decades ago, to get paid for residuals in traditional TV. So residuals aren't a new thing. I think why people are so upset about all of this is because with streaming taking over and traditional TV declining, creatives were getting paid less money because those residuals were going away. So that's why they're fighting for them. Make no mistake, residuals can make you more money than upfront pay. Like, significantly more money, especially in the long run. So that's why it's so important to them. Okay, now the chat has been sidetracked by Melanie Martinez. What? Dozier Jerez says, "Hey Brittany, what is happening to Walt Disney right now?" He's probably rolling in his grave, but we'll see. Walt Disney was historically anti-union, so he's probably mad unions won or something. Alright. So, I'm really hoping this is a message from SAG saying that they're happy that they came to a deal and that they continue to urge the studios and the AMPTP to return to the table and make the fair deal that our SAG members deserve and demand. Basically saying that, well, if the writers got a good deal, then SAG better get a good deal too, which is why I think both are probably about to end very, very soon. In fact, going to entertainment news, we're already starting to get a lot of entertainment news stuff. I guess studios were all holding a lot of announcements during the strikes that they wanted to make, but now that it looks like the strikes are about to end, we're getting a slew of a bunch of announcements. Because apparently it looks like The Last of Us Season 2 will immediately start resuming as soon as the WGA strike ends, which, like I said, could be in a few days. We have SNL is going to return next month, so again, pretty much immediately we're having all these shows come back. The Office, this is the one. This is the one, y'all. We gotta talk about this one, because what the WTF. This could have been WTF news, not gonna lie. Because one of the news that they kept hidden in private for whatever reason during these strikes is that they're planning on an Office reboot with the same showrunner, Greg Daniels. So the same guy that did the last one, they want to bring him back. They don't know if it's going to be the same cast or not yet. But what? What? Do we need this? Do we need this? As much as I love The Office, and it's a good show, I think some things should just end. They just need to end. I think this is wholly unnecessary and could backfire, but who knows? Lightthorn just gifted another 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Lightthorn. Wow, that's incredible. Thank you. Who's a member now? CCG is a member, Rhea Lynn is a member, Rhea Rue is a member, Angie Soares is a member, Nakisha Moore is a member. Thank you everyone who's a member now. Now you can participate. By the way, if you're a member, you can participate in our members-only post in the community page. We are going to get to the community page in a moment once we get to that question, but that's what you get as a member, and you get a possible shout-out in my videos. So thank you for being a member. It really does support the channel. And thank you, Lightthorn, for being so generous. Thank you so much. But is anyone excited about another Office reboot? Okay, first of all, would you want the old cast to return, or would you want this to still be in the same Office universe, but with a different cast? Because I did look at an old article from Greg Daniels that said that if he ever did do an Office reboot, he's not sure if he would want to bring the old cast back, so this might be with a whole different cast. How would you feel about that? Seeing some no's, okay. Seeing some yeses. Okay, a lot of you are saying you don't see this reboot working. Okay. Maybe I should do a poll about this. Who wants a reboot for The Office? Alright. Who's excited about this? Thank you everyone for being. If you're here in the chat, if you're here live, if you could give this video a like, it would really help the channel. Also subscribe. A good number of people aren't subscribed, so please make sure you do that as well. I'm excited, so I'm going to say yes, no, and then of course always a maybe. Are you excited for this? Adding the poll. RuPaul's Ray Superfan says neither. It won't work no matter what. That will have to be, it'll be too sensitive and try not to get canceled. Interesting. So you don't think the humor of The Office can work in today's heavily divisive political climate, is what you're saying. I don't know. People still really love The Office now. People watch it all the time with its, outdated jokes or whatever entirely. So I feel like people will still watch this show. I don't know. I don't think that alone is going to stop it unless they do something intentionally irksome. They take a page out of Disney's guide to, representation, which I think would be a mistake. But I don't think they do that. I think The Office has always been satire. I think they could do it well, especially if it's with the same showrunner. Jimin and Craft Style says, "Thank you for the super chat, by the way. If the deal is good and accepted, will we see new upcoming actors and writers enter the industry now that it's more fair, or will the stigma remain?" It depends on what the deal is. Again, I want to see what the details are, because right now there's still a lot of vagueness and like we don't know the specifics of anything yet. But if it is a good deal, it could encourage more people to want to stay in Hollywood and be writers again, because they might actually be able to make money doing it. So who knows? We really don't know, but we'll see. Thank you for the super chat, though. John Burns, also another super chat. Thank you so much. Another of The Office, Ricky Gervais will whine. I know, this will technically be the third iteration, you're right, because the American Office was also a reboot. Alright. So RuPaul's Drag Race superfan, you just wanted to give a super chat to support the channel, so that's very nice. Thank you so much. Oh, DD, you've been a member for 2 months now. That's really kind. This has been a very great stream today. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being my media news source and guide. Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying the show, and I enjoy doing these. Alright. Nintendo Gaming Channel, also a super chat. Thank you so much. Questions for Brittany Reacts. Why some subjects you didn't cover at times, such as Cleopatra the Seventh propaganda by Netflix? Some of those things are just like culture war topics that I feel like I don't want to bring to my channel. If you want that, like if you want just the culture war stuff, there are a lot of channels you could go to. I try to stick to like just mainly the news. That's what I focus on. The Blue Gecko Nerd says, in my opinion, the live-action Snow White Disney could have casted Gal Gadot as an older Snow White to continue the story right after it left off, and cast a little Miss Goody Two-Shoes as evil queen. That would have been too interesting, Blue Gecko Nerd. That would have been too interesting. I would have loved to have seen that. I'm very curious to see how that Snow White movie's gonna do. Very, very curious. Alright. Going back to the Office subject, I think this is potentially doomed. I think they tried to keep The Office going once Steve Carell left, and a lot of people talked about the show wasn't nearly as good. So I don't know. So 75% of you agree with me. You think this is a bad idea. 75% voted no. 16% of you are saying maybe, so you could be swayed with maybe more, I guess, marketing. And then 9% of you are saying yes. Only 9%. That's really, really small. So I guess not a lot of you must watch The Office. I don't know. Maybe that should have been my fourth option. But anyways, thank you for voting in the poll. Username says the last seasons of The Office were already pushing it. We don't need more. That's exactly what I'm saying. They were already stretching it the last few seasons. I don't know if more seasons is gonna make it better. Nintendo Gaming Channel. Thank you for the super chat. You guys have been so kind. Wow. It's history, not culture war. It's like doing to JFK. You're talking about the situation where they had a Cleopatra documentary and they made Cleopatra black, right? That's the controversy you're talking about? Yeah, I didn't bring it up because I know it's so controversial, and I tried not to be a controversial channel. You know what, I have to say, it is very hard to cover entertainment news and stay out of politics. I didn't expect that going into this, but boy is it hard. Because it feels like politics and entertainment news now are like so intertwined, and you get comments asking about political things when you're just trying to talk about a movie, and I feel like I'm resisting becoming a political pundit every day. That's just like a sad state of like, politics is just like wrapped itself around everything now. You can't have anything that's separate from it. It's kind of sucks, not gonna lie. Hybrid Venom says, if actually a YouTube strike happened, that would be the weirdest thing. That could never happen because, unfortunately, YouTubers aren't unionized, so that would just mean that every YouTuber would have to stop uploading, and that won't happen. Anyway, I just had to answer that question, but I can move on to the next topic. So, Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Marvel. We're about to talk about what Martin Scorsese has been saying about Marvel. But some good news about Marvel first. The Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is actually very, very successful. It made about $250 million in profit for Disney. So that's incredible. That is incredible. I think that means that they should focus more on like characters. One of the reasons I think Guardians 3 worked where a lot of these other recent Marvel movies haven't been working is that they just focused on characters and they made you care about the characters and like all the plot stuff was secondary. I think they should do that going forward with more movies. Not gonna lie. They should use this movie as a template if they want to start being successful again, because I don't know if any other like upcoming Marvel movie is gonna make this much money. I really don't, to be honest with you. Little Joe's Animations, thank you so much for this super chat. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you for not diving into the culture war. I try. It's really hard. Especially since, like, unfortunately, I've also seen that, like, anytime you, like, sort of wade into it, it brings the clicks, it brings the engagement. So it's like, you want to avoid it, but, like, also not avoiding it helps you. Nintendo something, sorry, it doesn't always give me the full name, says, should YouTube punish bad Apple's DSP wings? YouTube is already very strict enough, to be honest with you. I think YouTube is very strict with what content creators can do and say. I don't know if they need to be restricting more. Arvin says, now I have more hopes I'm DC. Oh, you have more hopes in DC with James Gunn. Yeah, like I said, if it wasn't James Gunn in charge of DC, I would think DC had no hope at all and was already dead. I mean, it is dead, but maybe James Gunn can bring it back. I mean, if they could do this for Marvel, maybe he could do this for DC. I don't know. I really don't know. But anyway, speaking of Marvel, now let's get into Martin Scorsese's comments, because oh boy, have they been very, very controversial. And he doesn't care. He wants to be controversial. I think he wants to rock the boat, especially when it comes to all this Marvel stuff, because he seems, obviously he's very passionate about cinema, he's very passionate about film, and he, in his mind, Marvel movies are like theme parks. They're not real cinema. That, according to him, in this recent article that just came out, he thinks that these type of big franchise movies are bad for our culture, because there are going to be generations now that think movies are only those. That's what movies are. They already think that. And I have to say, I don't think he's entirely wrong here. As much as I've liked Marvel movies and I've seen every single one, I have to admit, because I'm a huge movie fan and I was already a huge movie fan before I got into Marvel. In fact, I kind of got into Marvel relatively late. I got into Marvel, like, I want to say, after the first Avengers movie, so it was pretty far in. I've noticed in my lifetime, like, the quality of movies that aren't big blockbusters, that aren't Marvel films, I feel like they have been declining. Like, the quality has definitely been going down. And I feel like the reason is because all these blockbusters want to replicate the Marvel formula, or the Marvel humor, or the Marvel style, or even the Marvel aesthetic. Even if it's, like, not a Marvel movie, you have so many blockbusters now that still look and feel like a Marvel film. In fact, there was one movie, it was called Snake Eyes. It was actually based off of the G.I. Joe franchise. It came out a few years ago. But I remember this movie, I didn't even see it, but I remember this movie because the trailer, I kept seeing the trailer in front of, like, every other film I was seeing, and the trailer looked so much like a Marvel movie that I was like, I feel like they told the marketing, like, trailer editing team, just make this movie look like a Marvel film as much as you can, and leave it at that, because that's how it looked. And even when I saw the new Transformers movie that came out this summer, there's a scene in one of the big final battle sequences at the end that, like, looks like it came straight out of Infinity War. Like, they copied it, like pretty much beat by beat. And I just feel like that's happening with so many other movies, too. It's like they're all trying to copy the Marvel success by copying Marvel. So now you got a lot of these blockbusters that look and feel the same. So I kind of think he has a point, not gonna lie. Nintendo, you have another super chat. Wow, you guys have been so kind with the super chats. I'm loving it. Thank you. YouTube allows slurs such as the N-word by DSP Wings. Are you talking about in songs? Yeah, I mean, YouTube's censorship is different. It's like, it's okay for some people, but for others it's not. I guess it just depends on if they consider you reputable or not. I don't know. But what do you guys feel about his opinions on this? Do you agree with him? Do you think Marvel is, like, contributing to the decline of, like, overall quality of movies like he does? MW says, people here should look up George Lucas's comments on making movies in the USA versus the Soviet Union and why he felt artists in the Soviet Union had more freedom. George Lucas said artists in the Soviet Union has more freedom? Ugh, that's awful. That does not make us sound great. MRX says, once these strikes end, Disney better get to work on promoting the Marvels because the hype is not there. Oh, there is, like, zero hype for the Marvels. Very, very concerned for what that movie's gonna do, because it's not looking good, in my opinion. It's looking like this movie, I don't know, it's just not looking good. Evil Connor says it made people lower their standards for the plot. Yeah, I think that too. I think it also, I don't know if you guys have heard of this term, but, like, Joss Whedon has now sort of trademarked a sort of humor that he put in the original Avengers movie that now they've been, like, carrying with them throughout the entire MCU. So now the entire MCU has this sort of Whedon-esque humor. Now there's also some James Gunn humor thrown in there too, but it feels like, especially for a while, all other Hollywood movies also had that Whedon humor because Marvel made it popular. And that got really old really quick. Ryu says they may just let the Marvels flop. We will see. Well, I did see an article that was saying that they pretty much have no faith in the Marvels and they're kind of expecting it to flop. So they're just kind of waiting to see what it does. And I feel like based on the lack of marketing, that probably is true. DD says, I loved Marvel movies until I saw that they were all made via green screen. I really wish they didn't peek behind the curtain. The thing is, obviously there's a lot of that they can't do in real life with Marvel because it's all sci-fi and fantasy, but they do stuff that could be done practically, and they still make it CG. And I feel like that's a problem because everything starts to look really digital and artificial, even when there are scenes when there shouldn't be anything digital or artificial. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen all these behind-the-scenes pictures with Marvel where you'll see, like, a mug that one of the actors is holding was actually CGI the whole time, like they weren't actually holding anything, or like they CGI'd someone's glasses on their face so they never had any glasses. So like it's little things like that, or a wall. I think the most egregious example I saw once where it was like Robert Downey Jr. in front of what I thought was just a regular brick wall, and then I saw the CGI like background, and it was literally like just a green screen. They couldn't even get like a fake brick wall to put behind them? Why did that have to be CGI? So yeah, they definitely overuse it. Arvin says, ending fight in Secret Invasion is still a nightmare to me. I've seen nothing but clips and GIFs from that and it looks awful. Like, truly awful. Username says practical effects have sadly been phased out because CGI is way cheaper. I mean, that's obviously why they're doing it. What I think is happening is they're on set and they're like, oh, we don't... Okay, and this isn't even what I think is happening. It's what I know is happening. Marvel is so indecisive because they don't totally finalize what they want the story to be in any of their movies until post-production, that when it comes to filming, they'll just tell their actors to, like, say different things just in case they want to go with a different narrative once they edit the movie together. Or, like, with Avengers Endgame, they'll just have them wear, like, green screen suits so that they can CGI what they want them to wear later because they can't figure out on the day what they want them to wear. So that's the kind of stuff that they do. And I think that they have to stop that because the end product looks very digital and fake and artificial. And I think people are starting to get tired of that. Hybrid Venom says they lost a bunch of dollars so they cannot buy a fake thing, but they have enough money for CGI. Yeah, it's all backwards. Amarex says, I applaud Mulan, the live action, for filming on location. Do you? Didn't they film outside a concentration camp? And if the movie was bad, because it looked so gorgeous, Marvel should take notes on that because everything is green screen now and Days Even land. Well, just to clarify with the Mulan thing, yes, technically Mulan did shoot on location, which is why I thought, even though I thought that movie was total terrible, like, it was just, I was about to cuss, I'm not gonna cuss, but that movie was terrible. At least visually it looked good because they did shoot a lot of that stuff on location. And then they found out, because there's even, like, a thank you at the very bottom of the text scroll at the end of the movie. Like, they filmed it right outside of, like, a concentration camp in China. So, that's awkward, and definitely doesn't make, Disney look like a hypocrite. Did anyone know about that? Did you guys hear about that controversy? That was, like, a big deal when it broke. Angel Barrera, thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. You guys are so kind. Wow. I don't feel like getting a mug, just CG it. I mean, that's what they're thinking on set, I guess. I don't know. I've seen, like, the craziest stuff CGI. Like, you don't even understand. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, if you guys seen the new Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, the scene with Daredevil, there's, like, so many tiny things that are all, like, CG in that scene because they didn't fully know how they wanted to do Daredevil's cameo. So it's like the stuff that's in his hand is all CGI, his glasses are apparently CGI. It's all a mess. Oh, you guys did know that about Mulan. Yeah, sorry, but now you know. Now you know. Arvid says, I completely forgot there was a Mulan live action. That movie was so bland and forgettable, I don't blame you at all. Walzer Captain says, I feel like the Eternals really showed how bad a Marvel movie can be. It hasn't been the same since. I love how you use Eternals as your example. There are people who really love that movie. I don't understand it. I didn't like it. I still haven't seen it since the first time I saw it in theaters. I was more excited for the end credits scene than I was for the whole movie. Because I thought it was very, very dry and flat. And I thought, I'm not a fan of Gemma Chan as an actress. I think she's a very flat actress with no charisma. And she was asked to lead a 2.5-hour movie, and I thought she was very bad at it. So those are my thoughts on Eternals. It was not good. Anyway, he had more to say. He says, and again, you have to read between the lines because he didn't name Marvel specifically, but he's basically calling Marvel films like AI filmmaking. Like, ouch. He says it's almost like AI making a film. That doesn't mean you don't have incredible directors and special effects, people doing beautiful art. But what does it mean? What will these films give you? He's basically saying that, yeah, you got, these directors and talented special effects artists working on this stuff, but if it's all hollow and meaningless, why do we care? It's basically like AI filmmaking. Like, I know Kevin Feige must be somewhere punching a hole through the wall that Martin Scorsese just insinuated that all his movies are just like AI content. Like, ouch. That's gotta hurt. Okay, you guys know why I was excited for the end credits scene, alright. Evil Connor says it may not be AI, but it could have been made by AI. I'm not surprised that Marvel was the first major studio to jump on board the AI train with the Secret Invasion opening, because all of their stuff has been very, formulaic anyway, so I guess it makes sense that Marvel wants to jump into using AI. I mean, could you imagine? It's probably so easy. It's probably going to be so easy in just like a few years to ask AI to make, something Marvel related, because it's already got a formula. All I have to say is, like, have the two guys punch each other, and then they make up in the end, and somewhere along the way there's a sky beam. Like, that's all you gotta say. And then there you go. You got, like, at least 20 different superhero movies. The Blue Gecko Nerd says, not to mention they already have Mulan and a Disney princess, so I don't get why Raya is a Disney princess and she resembles her. I mean, I guess they just wanted... I thought the Raya movie was very boring. I guess they just wanted a different kind of princess. I don't know. That's why I'm really excited for Wish, because it's more of like a traditional princess story. I don't know how we got on this subject, but just real quick. I think Wish looks a lot more like what people are wanting from a Disney princess story than something, whatever Raya was trying to do. Yes, Taylor Swift is also a terrible actress. I think the only role she can play is herself. Zach says, in retrospect, I could have done better in those projects. I didn't realize I had any ability for acting. What are you talking about? What are you all talking about in this chat today? This chat has been wild, but I'm kind of loving it. Lawrence says, I have no problem with Marvel humor, but I do feel like it's kind of everywhere when I watched Elemental, The Last Jedi, and Haunted Mansion. Oh yes, Haunted Mansion. Not to keep hating on Haunted Mansion, but I really do feel like that movie just exemplifies everything wrong with modern Disney filmmaking. That movie is just, it's like the checklist of everything wrong that Disney's doing when they're making movies now. And that was one of them. The lame Marvel humor. So cringy, so forced, didn't make sense in the film. It sucked. Yeah, did not like that film at all. Oh, Motion Going says Raya was absolute dog water. I don't know if it was that terrible. I just thought it was kind of forgettable, like a lot of their movies are these days. The last, like, Disney animated film that I really, really liked, or Pixar film, I loved Soul. I thought that was really good. I think Luca is very cute and charming. I don't know. I think Encanto got saved by the music, not gonna lie, but I know a lot of people love that one too. I think they're in a bit of a slump, creatively. I really do. Alexander Payne, I think this is. I'm so sorry, I can't see the whole name. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Singers shouldn't act. Taylor Swift and Harry Styles are horrible actors. They should stop. Okay, here's the thing. Even I, as someone who's a huge fan of Harry, I admit I don't think his acting in Don't Worry Darling was the best. But here's why I'm going to blame the director. Because he was actually very good in another movie he was in called My Policeman. He was much better in that. I feel like if people saw that movie, like more people saw that one, they would think he's a better actor. Because I just think that there was something about whatever drama was going on set with Don't Worry Darling. I think that might have had to do with it, but I'm just guessing. Thank you for the super chat, though. Oh, Evil Connor wants me to hate away. Okay, I'll hate away, fine. Do we have anything else? Oh, yes. Apparently Martin Scorsese has been, like, very anti-franchise for a very long time. Apparently when he made The Departed, Warner Brothers wanted to make a franchise out of that by having, I guess spin-offs of all these different characters, by having them live. And apparently he wasn't even about that even back then. He says what they wanted was a franchise. It was about a moral issue of a person living or dying. The studio guys walked out and they were very sad because they just didn't want that movie. So again, this is why I think every time Scorsese says something about Marvel or cinema, people listen, because obviously the guy knows what he's talking about. He obviously cares about the medium. And I kind of have to agree with some of the things that he's saying. I think, as I've been talking about on my channel, I've been calling it a mid-apocalypse, where a lot of movies are not terrible, but they're not, like, blowing your socks off. They're not getting everyone talking. Most movies coming out right now are just kind of mid. And I think we need more people like Martin Scorsese talking about it, because nothing's going to change if we all just kind of accept the quality that we're given, I missed your super chat. Oh no, Angel Prayer, what did I miss? Okay, I did. Sorry about that. Why do you need AI? You have comics with stories. AI is going to be able to allow the studios to save so much money. That's why they want to do it. And apparently, from everything that I've been reading, What it seems like could happen over time is that all these tech studios, like, from Apple and Amazon, the tech companies, they're basically trying to eat up the regular traditional studios. And once AI gets, really good at making video, they just basically want AI to make stuff and have humans edit it enough that they can pass for copyright. They want to do that because then they won't have to pay for a crew, they won't have to pay for actors, they won't have to pay for anything. They'll just have to pay for a couple of people to prompt stuff and edit things, and that's it. So that's why they want to do it. Now, will it work? I don't know. I don't know yet if the public will accept AI content if there is no human driver behind it. I don't know. But that's definitely what they're trying to go for, so we'll see. Thank you for letting me know I skipped it. Did I miss anything else? I think I got everything. Alright. So, going to the member question, because I did ask you guys, what do you think about all this stuff with Martin Scorsese and Marvel? Do you agree with him? Do you think Marvel has been ruining cinema? Why or why not? And again, thank you for being a member. If you do want to be a member, please press the join button at the bottom of the screen. It really does help the channel. Alright, so I got a lot of good comments as usual. You guys have some very insightful things to say. Like, you guys are up with it. I love it. Alright, so Malik Lockhart says, I'm not sure if Marvel ruined cinema, but I do think it changed what type of projects got greenlit. After the success of Avengers, every studio wanted its own cinematic universe. And didn't that not work out? Wasn't there going to be like a whole dark universe Universal wanted to do with like a bunch of creepy horror monsters? Like, they started off with The Mummy with Tom Cruise, and that failed. Yeah, so many other studios have wanted a cinematic universe, but I almost want to say almost none of them have been successful. Like, maybe the Conjuring cinematic universe is successful. Like, that's the only other cinematic universe I can think of that actually ended up working out. Because you can't say DC. Big budget franchises are properties that could be turned into franchises because the norm, while other types of cinema became an afterthought. Yeah, that's the thing. I really do feel like, and even, to be honest with you guys, as I'm chatting with you in the chat and, like, seeing the comments you guys have been making about some of the films we talked about, it kind of seems like even you guys don't really care to see smaller films in theaters that much. Like, it seems like even you guys are being pickier about what you actually see in a big theater. And for the most part, you guys are saying it needs to be something huge, it needs to be something cinematic. It can't just be some, like, B tier or mid-budget small film. So I think if you guys are saying it, and I consider you guys to be, at least movie fans if you're watching this show, I think that's probably what most people are thinking. So, yeah. Which is going to be a real big problem for Hollywood going forward. And, I don't think that's an issue that's going to, suddenly turn around. I think they're definitely losing a lot of interest amongst the general public of just going to the theater to see anything. And now it seems like it has to be something massive to, like, actually get people to want to go to the theater to see something. The Couch Potato says the movie has to be worth the cost of the theater ticket. Yeah, definitely. That's why I'm excited for Dune, because it better be worth the price of the ticket. Okay, LaxGirl761 says, I could say that Martin's full comments can also be applicable for Scorsese films too. I do not think they ruined cinema. At the end of the day, the studios were meeting the demands of the market. And these days, the type of films that were popular at Martin's day when he started making movies are more popular on streaming than in theaters. For example, while there has been some great comedy films recently, they have not been doing well in theaters. It's hard to make comedy popular globally. That's a great point, and something that I don't think a lot of people bring up enough when it comes to, like, why don't we get more rom-coms now? Because that's something I see a lot of. It's like, why don't we get more comedies in theaters? Why don't we get more rom-coms? Well, apparently, and I think it makes sense when you think about it, comedy is not universal. Jokes that work in the US may not work in the UK or Russia or literally any other country. So if you want a movie that's going to play well to an audience worldwide, comedy is not something that you want to go for because it's not something that's going to automatically translate everywhere. So that's a good point as to like why we don't get a lot of comedies these days. So thank you for bringing that up. Comic book movies and other bigger blockbusters tend to do well in theaters and are movies that are made for global audiences, not just American ones. Also, while comic book movies have been very popular for a time, they were only a smaller chunk of the pie in the market this past decade. Different types of films have been made since then too, ones that again have had more of a focus on a global market, aka broad appeal, instead of art house critical darlings, which have stuck more with streaming with smaller studios. Here's the thing. These, as you put it, art house critical darling type movies, I feel like those type of films are increasingly appealing to a nicher, more cinephile, oh, I love film, I'm a, film snob kind of person. And I feel like that's not a good thing, because we used to have really good art house kind of movies that could still be accessible for everyone and not just for one kind of person with one kind of taste. And I feel like that's what a lot of art house movies are becoming, and that could also be why it's kind of turning the broader people away. So I kind of hope that we have more indie filmmakers that can still bring that art house touch, but also not forget that you have an audience that still wants to enjoy your movie. So maybe not make it too, unaccessible. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm asking for too much. But thank you for your comment, by the way. This was a really good comment, Lax Girl. Very well thought out. Yes, Evil Connor. Comedy is really hard, which is probably why Marvel found its comedy tone and just stuck with it for so long, because I bet they were like, well, if this works, why would we change it? Cheetah Viper says, I'm not sure if they ruined cinema. I think movies and media go through changes. After Endgame, the quality went down and the market got oversaturated. I think that the popularity of Marvel movies is not... People keep saying Marvel's the reason why, everything's so CGI heavy nowadays, but I think Marvel's more of like a symptom than the cause of all of this. I think around the 2000s is when all these visual effects technologies started to get really good, so we could even have, all these crazy superhero movies that we have now. So I think with the advancement of visual effects getting better, we were always going to get a more of a like CGI heavy renaissance for blockbusters, just because the technology was finally there for it, and the superhero movies just happened to be at the right place, the right time to really benefit from it. I think the first Iron Man movie came out at the right time. It came out right at the apex of like when visual effects were starting to get really good, and I think Marvel just kind of rode that wave of like, hey, look what we can do with visual effects now for like 10 plus years, and now we're all kind of tired of it because we've seen visual effects do literally anything you can imagine. But that's my theory anyway. Emily says, I agree, a lot of movies are too long. They make movies that shouldn't be long. 3 hours long. Yeah, a lot of movies have been 3 hours long lately, but if you actually look at all the top grossing movies, they're all like 3 hours long. So that's why they keep making them long. Again, freaking Oppenheimer's 3 hours long and it made almost $1 billion. So I don't blame studio execs now who are like, I don't know how I can tell a creative to shorten their movie, because it doesn't really seem like a movie having a long length or a long runtime really hinders it at all. In fact, there's even like some evidence to suggest that a long runtime helps it if you're actually looking for good box office. So I think as long as all these long movies keep doing well, we're just going to keep getting 3 hour films. I think the 3 hour film is going to become the norm more than the 2 hour film, because we're already getting there. Yes, and the FNAF movie was going to be 3 hours. It's not anymore. They've shortened it, but imagine if even the Five Nights at Freddy's movie was 3 hours. That would have been crazy. Jordan Davis says, Marvel didn't ruin cinema. Oh no, what happened? Jordan Davis says, Marvel didn't ruin cinema, streaming ruined cinema. Yeah, I agree with that. Before streaming services, Marvel was on the roll. It was the streaming services that ruined it. I get what he's trying to say, though. Even though I don't think Marvel ruined the movie experience, they did tarnish it. I don't know if they ruined the movie experience, but I definitely agree that streaming is more of an issue than Marvel itself. I think streaming is like the root cause of all of Hollywood's problems right now. if it wasn't for streaming getting popular, people would still be going to theaters more. People would still be paying for traditional TV. Like, all of those issues would not be happening. So yeah, definitely streaming is an issue. Like, for sure, that should be getting more of the heat that Marvel is getting. Alright, also I think streaming content, especially Netflix content, has made the general public also get okay with lower quality content. So that also hurts, you know. If you care about the art of cinema, I also think, you know, Netflix putting out a really subpar to bad movie every week is not helping the art of cinema. So that's another issue. Little Joe's Animation says, I definitely see where he's coming from. Marvel helps set the blueprint for this robotic manufacturing of action-packed, dopamine-triggering, flashy franchise movies. Wow. Tell me how you really feel. I doubt he means every individual Marvel movie ruined cinema. It's about what Hollywood at large took from the success of Marvel. That's exactly what he's saying. You're right. He's not, I guess, directly blaming Marvel movies, although he kind of is. But it's more about how every other studio tried to copy them, and that's what's ruining cinema. Because if it was just Marvel making Marvel-like movies, that would be one thing. But it's the fact that they were so successful, they had everyone else trying to copy them. And I think that was where everything went wrong with the industry, in my opinion. That along with streaming. Where was I? It's not at all like Marvel is the biggest factor, but it is a notable milestone in cinema's downfall. People just didn't notice because for a long time the execution of Marvel films was actually good. That's a great point. I don't think people would be talking about all this, you know, is Marvel ruining cinema if they were still making as good of movies as they were even just like 5 years ago. I think the fact that people are just kind of disillusioned with Marvel in general right now is why we're getting all these comments at all. So, great point. Vobatho says, first, yes, you've been saying my name right. Okay, good, thank you. For me, this is like asking if J.K. Rowling ruined good literature. In a way, it's like comparing apples to oranges. There's no need to gatekeep any media. There's plenty of creative outlets for everyone to consume and be happy whether you're a cinephile or casual moviegoer. Well, here's the thing, though. You're saying, like, oh, what does it matter if we're, you know, getting a lot of Marvel movies or something? You could always enjoy something else. I get what you're saying, but the more that we're getting studios to greenlight one kind of movie, the less we're getting of another kind of movie. And also the less screens there are in movie theaters for other kinds of movies. So it does affect everyone, even if you don't think it does. That's why he's so upset about it. But thank you for your comment, though. I'm Mikey says, honestly, I don't think it ruins cinema, but people are just tired of it. Unwanted movies, too many sequels, people would rather watch it on streaming and more. I don't think Marvel has a chance, but I feel like they will put it out one good movie, but then we'll just go back to making mid-movies. Maybe they'll just put out like one good movie a year and the rest will be kind of okay. I don't know, maybe they can survive on that. Marvel is definitely doomed through the future. Yeah, I think so. There are even more better movies that people might want to watch instead of the Marvel movies. I personally only watch a Marvel movie if I'm really intrigued in the movie or maybe good reviews. That's the thing. People used to just see everything Marvel just because it was Marvel. Now I think people are being definitely more choosy because you just don't know if everything's going to be good. It used to be able to trust it. It used to be like, oh yeah, it's a Marvel movie. It must be good. You can't really say that anymore because now you might get a Quantumania. You never know. Thank you for the comment, though. How are you guys over here? Sexy Rhino says, Marvel films are exciting at first watch, but you watch them again, they are mostly meh. You know what? During the first lockdown during COVID, one of the ways I decided to fill my time was I actually went back and rewatched the first 3 phases of Marvel, up to that point, which I think was just Endgame. So I watched, like, all 3 phases. But I have to tell you, I agree with you. There were certain films that I think aged better. Like, I think the first Captain America movie actually aged really well. But there are a lot of movies, like a lot, that are just not nearly as exciting when you rewatch them and the hype is gone. So I agree with you. RuPaul's Gray Superfan says, no, not necessary. Yes, Marvel has ruined Hollywood in the sense everyone is trying to be a connected universe, which most of the time don't work. But also Marvel has help make superhero films something that is not just for nerds, but everyone can enjoy them. Oh yeah, Marvel definitely made superhero movies mainstream. That you can definitely say. I think there's no, doubting that for sure. I don't know if Marvel ruined cinema, but I think they were, again, just part of a symptom of a much larger issue. And that's all tied to, like, streaming and technology, to be honest. Nicholas Wilson says, no, they're a symptom of a far more fundamental fear of originality. Studios want to stick with what's working instead of innovating for fear of failure, but they've failed precisely because of the lack of originality. I saw something concerning, and I almost talked about it today. I might talk about it in tomorrow's live stream, but apparently Pixar, for the foreseeable future, is going to just be a sequel studio because they've had a lot of flops recently. It seems like they want to play it safe and just make a bunch of sequels for the next few years, so get ready for that from Pixar. And I think that's really sad, because if you're just doing sequels and Pixar isn't even good at doing sequels, I think you're losing the essence of the brand, for sure. You just can't rely on only sequels. That would suck. Oh, Mickey! Did I give you too many hearts? Denisha says, I never watched Endgame in theaters, only Infinity War, but I watched it in Disney Plus and cried like a baby. Well, I'm glad, Denisha, you still have the same effect on you, even though you didn't get to see it in theaters. I'm glad you were still able to enjoy it, and it wasn't just, the hype that made it for you. CCG says, Marvel's dominance led to oversaturation, with Disney reusing the same formula repeatedly and a decline in quality. Yeah, the formula's gotten old. They're trying to get away from the formula, but even when they try to get away from it, it's still it's not good. Marvel is ruining cinema. Isn't ruining cinema, streaming is. Streaming is definitely more the issue, as I've said. Marilyn Cherry says, I think it is just evolution. Cinemas are a 20th century thing. Theaters did not disappear when cinemas became a thing, but aren't as relevant anymore. This is what happens with movie theaters now. Of course, Hollywood minds, but we will just be fine with other forms of entertainment. Here's the thing. Here's where I think the future of the entertainment industry, in particular movie theaters, are going to be looking like, say, 10 years from now. Sorry if you hear my dog. Here's what the future of entertainment, movie theaters looks like, according to me. So I think movie going is going to become what Broadway going is, as you kind of alluded to, Marilyn Cherry, where only like a few movies a year that are just the biggest, most hyped releases where you have to see it or else you're going to feel like you're missing out. Those are the movies that everyone goes to see. They're going to be huge events. Maybe you even dress up a bit. I feel like the theaters themselves, even the theaters are going to get nicer because right now everyone's mainly trying to get the premium seats. Like they're trying to get IMAX, they're trying to get Dolby. I can totally see those premium theaters getting even more premium with time as movies become more eventized. I could just see like 10 years from now going to the movies is more like a huge event thing. That's what I think that this is all getting to. I know that sounds depressing, but that's my prediction. Oh, you guys know Prancer. Yes, you heard Prancer. I can't show him. He's in the living room. Sorry. I'm glad you love him, though. Evil Connor says they certainly helped. That's how I feel, Evil Connor. I don't think they're the entire root cause of cinema's decline, but they did help. That's true. Natanya says, disagree, I feel like movies went downhill before Marvel went to shit. I love how blunt you are. I mean, you're not wrong. Again, I think streaming's the main issue. Our Pistol says, no, not really. Marvel was just a fun thing. We might have overfed us with, because now movies are just nothing. I think you're just saying Marvel was just a phase. I think you might be right. They say in the 60s or the 70s, the Western was the most popular genre. Like, that's the only kind of film people wanted to see. There was just nothing but Westerns in theaters. And then, people got, they grew out of it. They got over it. I think maybe the superheroes could have just been another phase that people got really into, and now they're over it. Who knows? We'll see. Who knows what the future holds. Alright, so that looks like that was the last comment. So thank you for everyone for being a member. Again, if you want to be a member, please press the join button at the bottom of the screen. That would really help. It helps the channel. You get to participate in these comments. You get a shout out. It's good for everyone. All right, going to the main shot. Since we have talked for an hour now, I'm just going to answer about 3 questions. That'll be it. You can ask me about anything that we talked about today. You can ask me about the strikes, Marvel, Martin Scorsese, literally anything. I'll do 3 questions. That'll be the end of the stream today, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our next stream. I'm sure we'll have more updates on the strike. I'm really excited to see if we'll get some details on what they agreed to. I really want those details. All right. Yeah, Alex, bad superhero movies doesn't help. If we were getting nothing but A+ level quality superhero movies, I don't think we'd be having this discussion, but we haven't been getting a consistent dose of that for a while. So I think even the executives are creatively tapped out too, to be honest. Oh, Ryan Lynn says Rolling Stone did a top 50 worst decisions made for movies article. Oh, I gotta look at that. Please tell me hiring Zack Snyder for DC was on there, because that has to be. Evil Connor says, if you could make a CW-style reboot of any show, cartoon, or film, what could it be? A CW-style reboot. Oh, I love this question. Thank you. Of a cartoon. Oh, what would it be? They were trying to make a live-action, edgy, teen comedy for the Powerpuff Girls, but the script for the first episode leaked and it got roasted so bad they literally canceled the show before it even aired. You guys should go look up that script. It was pretty funny. But they were gonna make the Powerpuff Girls just the most cringy, super try-hard, edgy, appeal to Gen Z kind of people ever, and it was so bad. So anything but that. That's my answer. Alright, one more question and that'll be it. Oh, Jimmy Neutron would be fun. I would like that. DD, thank you so much for the super chat. You guys have been the best with super chats today. Thank you so much. Just want to say great live stream. Don't forget to like and share the stream, everyone. Yes, thank you. Please like the video. Also, subscribe. I know a lot of you who watch these live streams actually aren't subscribed, so you should subscribe so you don't miss a live stream. I do them every day, Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m., and then Fridays at 1 p.m. So, yes, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 7 then. That'll be the end of the stream for today. And that'll be it. Alright, thank you.